Snipers, you have to see what's happening to the Bitcoin price today. We saw a very nice bounce at the 200 period moving average on the 4-hour chart, exactly like we predicted, but now we face the 50 and 100 period moving average as a major resistance for Bitcoin, and we have this Ichimoku cloud acting as a resistance. I want to talk about whether or not Bitcoin is going to come back down towards the weekly and monthly open, or if we're going to be able to break out from this major resistance area. And we're also going to take a look at what's happening to Ethereum, because you can see we are struggling to stay above this major support area, but we have reclaimed this support, which is very positive for Ethereum. I want to talk about what Ethereum is going to do and whether or not we're going to see continued upside, or if this is just a fake out and it will continue back to the downside. And then we'll take a look at what's happening to the DXY. As you can see, we are facing a major resistance and we are now in the bull and bear fight. I want to talk about why this matters and how this could affect the cryptocurrency market. And then we'll look at commodities, seeing some weakness like gold and US oil, while traditional markets in Japan and Hong Kong, Shanghai, and even the S&P 500 is seeing major strength and a rebound from the recent decline. I want to talk about whether or not this is a fake out or if we're going to see continued upside for traditional markets, as that could have a major impact on the cryptocurrency market. You guys are watching the Snipers channel. My name is Naeem Alabadi. If you appreciate this content, remember to like this video. First, I want to talk about exactly what's happening to Bitcoin. Just like we predicted, we saw a very nice bounce at the 200 period moving average on the 4-hour chart, and we went ahead and reclaimed that $44,800 support level. I talked about that being a major level for Bitcoin, but the potential of us coming down to the 200 period on the 4-hour before seeing a bounce, and that's exactly what we're seeing. And now we're facing a major resistance area on the 4-hour Ichimoku cloud. You can see we do have this red cloud here as a potential resistance, and then we have the $49,700 level, which was the candle high. If we look at the weekly chart, you can see this was the initial candle high here, and this to me is a very important level, because if we're able to get above 49,700, then now we have all of this open space to start climbing these two weekly candles to the upside. However, if we stay below 49,800 US dollars, there is a potential head and shoulder formation forming here, which could indicate a potential push to the downside. And of course, we talked about this 50-day moving average acting as a major support and is starting to come above that $41,950 area, where we want the 50-day moving average to come above, because if we start to see more downside, I am going to be watching that 50-day moving average for a potential rebound. However, right now we are in a very critical moment, because when we look at the 4-hour volume for Bitcoin, you can see we do have massive institutional sell pressure, and we've yet to see institutional buy pressure equate to the amount of pressure we saw here on the 22nd of February, which initially brought us down below 50,000 US dollars. And so on the 4-hour chart right now, we want to start seeing some volume come in, preferably some very nice institutional type of volume bars that overextend the average volume. Of course, something like this that initially took us above 50,000 would be very positive for Bitcoin right now, but we are in a very critical point, because we do have that $49,700 level as a resistance, and we have the 50 and 100 period moving average here as a resistance for Bitcoin. And then of course, to put the icing on the cake, we do have the 4-hour Ichimoku cloud. And so at this point for Bitcoin, it's a very simple schematic for me. If we're able to close hourly candles above 49,700 and above the 50 and 100 period moving average, then there is a high potential we come up and potentially test the previous weekly open at 57,399. However, if we're not able to get above 49,700 in the next 24 to 48 hours, then there is a potential we can stay inside of this consolidation range. And if we start coming down to the weekly and monthly open at 45,000 US dollars, then of course we still have that $44,800 level as a major support for Bitcoin. And I'm going to be watching that level. If we start coming to the downside, that's going to be my first area of concern. If we break this level, then of course we have the $41,950 area to the downside, but really I would just be watching the 50-day moving average. Of course, that may start to come above 41,950 if we're able to maintain price action at this higher area for a little bit longer. Of course, this is a shorter term moving average, so it won't take as much time for that for this moving average to move up a bit above 41,915. The reason I'm so adamant about that is I don't want us to come to 41,950 since that was the previous all-time high, and what that would assume is that we are now bleeding into this previous consolidation range, and that wouldn't be good for the midterm when it comes to Bitcoin's price action. However, a consolidation in this range is totally fine. And so what I'm really looking for on the bullish case is for us to stay above 44,800, preferably get back above 49,700, and that is going to have a huge impact not just for Bitcoin's price action, but also for Ethereum. Because when we look at what's happening to Ethereum right now, we are struggling to maintain ourselves above this major support level, which eventually was a resistance at some point. Once we broke this, you can see it became a resistance, but now we are back above it. When we look at what's happening on the micro time frames, you can see the hourly chart is just barely maintaining itself above this level. However, we could potentially see an inverse head and shoulder pattern form here and a breakout to the upside, but I think this has to do with what Bitcoin is going to do, because not only is Bitcoin at a major resistance, but Ethereum is at a critical level right now where we have to maintain this area here around that 1510 area in order for us to assume continued upside for Ethereum. And if we're able to maintain ourselves above this area and we start to see strength with Bitcoin, then there is that possibility that we start trending back up towards the 1760 area, which is going to be the next major resistance for Ethereum. However, if we start to trend back down, then of course 1440, the previous all-time high, is going to be a major support level, and now we've got the weekly and monthly open below that. If we start closing any hourly candles below the weekly and monthly open, that's when things could get ugly, and that's when we really need to start monitoring these charts, because at that point we have 1355 and then 1277 as a support level, but then the downside target would be that $1,165 area if we start to break down from the monthly and weekly open, which is currently sitting at that 1420 area for Ethereum. And so really this chart is going to really play out based on what Bitcoin does, and you can see with volume as well, we have a lot of this institutional sell pressure, and we've yet to see some institutional buy pressure that equates to the amount of sell pressure that we recently saw here on the 22nd of February, which did bring Ethereum down from that $2,000 level all the way back down to the $1,400 area. And so that is a critical point for me. And then when we look at this 6-hour chart, you can see we are reclaiming this 200 period moving average as well for Ethereum. If we're able to stay above that, that would be extremely positive. But this chart will be more influenced by Bitcoin than anything else. And we also will look at the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart, because this will give us an idea if we're going to see more strength with Ethereum or we're going to see more weakness with Ethereum, whether Bitcoin goes up or down. And so far you can see we are back inside of this ascending channel that has dated back since we've broken out from this ascending triangle. You can see we initially broke out of this triangle, we saw some major upside, but now we've come right back down inside of this channel. And at this point for the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart, if we stay in the lower range here below the previous weekly open, which is at 33,675 Satoshis, in my opinion, Ethereum will show more weakness against Bitcoin over the next few days and weeks, unless we're able to get back above 33,674 Satoshis. At that point, we could start potentially trending up. But at this point, we have to treat this like a bearish trend, because we are below the 100 and the 200 period moving average. And of course, the 50 period moving average is far and above current price action, which is slightly bearish, but there is that potential reversal that we discussed yesterday with this 50-week moving average bounce. So we are going to be monitoring this chart. We could have potentially have seen the worst of it when it comes to the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart, because we have this 50-week moving average here. Maybe this is going to buy us some time as we start to see more news develop with the Binance Smart Chain, and we start to see how the Ethereum DeFi contracts are going to hold up with the new competition that is emerging. Of course, it's such a fast market. We have to keep track of the fundamentals, not just the technicals. But right now, with Ethereum, we will most likely see more weakness if we stay below these major moving averages when it comes to the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart. And what that means is if Bitcoin starts going up, Ethereum will not go as fast. If Bitcoin starts going down, Ethereum could see more losses. Of course, it's a more volatile asset, but we just need to monitor that. Of course, you can see right now Bitcoin is up 7.15%, while Ethereum is only up 7.10%. And Ethereum usually outperforms Bitcoin because it has such a small market cap compared to Bitcoin. But right now you can see Bitcoin is the overperformer because of this Ethereum to Bitcoin chart. So a lot of this will have to do with what happens to Bitcoin, but I do want to keep that out there. And by the way, if you guys want to win one of my favorite books on investing, Trading Psychology, the Bible for traders, all you need to do is share this video and comment below, and that will make you eligible for this giveaway. And by the way, watch out for spam comments and impersonator accounts. I have been getting a ton of those on our comments and even in the DMs on Discord. Just remember, I will never ask you guys to sign up for an exchange. I will never ask you guys for Bitcoin. I will never ask you guys to make an account anywhere. If I do, it's going to come from my verified social media profiles, which is youtube.com/snipers or instagram.com/ my first name, which is Naeem. And so I just wanted to throw that out there. But let's take a look at what's happening in Bitcoin dominance. This is extremely interesting. You can see Bitcoin dominance is in a very tight squeeze in between the previous weekly open and the current weekly open, and we've got this major resistance and support area at 61.75 that is currently acting as a support for Bitcoin dominance. I do see this major sell candle. I do want to keep that on the chart as a food for thought, but realize that the more this is able to stay in this area, we are going to start to see some altcoins outperform Bitcoin like we saw with Cardano over the last few days. And this is very positive for the health of the market because this is allowing others' dominance to maintain itself above the current weekly open, the current and previous weekly open, which is showing strength. And we've still got this very nice ascending support level intact. So even if we start to see downside for others' dominance, as long as we maintain that, then things could look very good for altcoins as we approach the next coming months into altcoin season. And so this is a confirmation that altcoin season is still in effect. Of course, we've seen a bit of a stall with the price action that we're seeing with Bitcoin, but for now, this is showing that the altcoins are maintaining the ratios against Bitcoin very well, and that's very positive. Now, realize that the DXY is doing something that we have to pay attention to, because as much as you guys might not want to look at the DXY analysis, realize that this is the reason we're seeing such crazy volatility right now in the markets. This is the reason Bitcoin is not above 50,000 right now. The fact of the matter is the dollar is strengthening. We are above the 50-day moving average. We have to remember that we've been in a prolonged bearish trend for the dollar, and we've never come above the 100-day moving average since this bear trend started. And we are at the same area that we were at when we found a top in the cryptocurrency market in 2017 and 18. Then we started a bear market for crypto while the dollar started to strengthen. I'm not giving you guys a bearish view right now because, once again, I am the umpire. I'm going to give you guys a neutral perspective on things. For those that are subscribed to our YouTube channel, you know I'm always neutral, but I do want to address the fact that we are coming up to test this 100 period moving average and the channel resistance. If we start to see hourly candles for the DXY close above the 100 period moving average, that could be an indication we have a reversal on our hands. And if that is the case, there is a potential that we start to see assets, not just the cryptocurrency market, but assets in the stock market, real estate, precious metals, see a decline in US dollar value if we start to see the dollar strengthen. And we're already seeing the effects of this with gold seeing a drop below this major support level. We're seeing a lot of weakness and sell pressure here for gold right now. That doesn't mean we'll eventually rebound, but for now we are seeing a lot of sell pressure. And then we look at US oil, we are hitting a major resistance level that dates back several years. You can see we are now at this point where we have one of the least forward viewed assets already at a very high premium. And so oil, of course, we know oil may not be around 50 or 100 years from now, but it's still at a very high premium, but it is at a resistance level right now while the dollar is potentially about to break out. And so this is all food for thought for you guys. So I want you to realize what's happening right now with the traditional markets. We have to watch whether or not the DXY is going to break out, or if we're going to see asset inflation continue. And then what indicator that would be is if oil breaks out from this resistance, that could be very positive for assets. But so far, we look at international markets, we did see a steep decline last week. We are seeing a gap up over 2% in the Japanese traditional markets, but we're not seeing as much strength as we're seeing in the S&P 500 with international markets. If you notice, in Hong Kong, we did see this major drop to the 50-day moving average, and we did see a minor gap up, only 1.54%, and we're just above the weekly and monthly open. This could just be a relief. I think a big question that you guys could leave this video with is whether or not this is just a reversal or a relief, because realize that if this is just a relief, there is more potential downside for traditional markets, and that could impact the cryptocurrency market. But if this is a reversal, so far the S&P 500 is looking like the best one, then that could be very positive for cryptocurrencies. If we're able to break this resistance level, I think that could be extremely positive for the bullish case in the short term for Bitcoin. But the S&P 500 is the only market right now seeing the amount of price action that we're seeing for this reversal, despite the international markets that are still struggling to get back towards the previous highs. And so I just want to keep that out there. If we see this fake people out, we do have a lot of sell pressure, ascending sell volume here. We just want to keep this in mind. If we're not able to form another high and break through this resistance, that could impact the cryptocurrency market. And so keep that on your charts. And I want to pick a winner for our book giveaway from our video yesterday. If you guys want to win one of my favorite books on investing, just comment below and you guys will have the chance of winning. Let's go ahead and pick Timothy Ha from our video yesterday. Thanks for the great analysis, Naeem, and I like your new segment on Cardano as well. Awesome. Thank you, Timothy, for the kind words. Send me a message on Instagram. The link is in the description below, and you will be eligible to win this giveaway. And to wrap up my thoughts for Bitcoin, just realize at this point, this $49,700 level is a very key area. If we're able to break above this, then now we can start climbing those two previous weekly candles that could take us all the way to the $57,400 area. But if we stay in this range, there is this potential head and shoulder pattern forming. We want to keep this in mind, and that would be invalidated if we break 49,700. But at this point, I'm not too concerned for the short-term price action. I think we did see the bounce we wanted at this 4-hour 200 period moving average. That is going to allow us to buy some more time for this 50-day moving average to come up a bit more, hopefully above 41,950 if we do want to see the bullish case continue. And then at that point, the reaction of the test of the 50-day moving average is going to be key to watch if we get to that point, depending on whether or not Bitcoin decides to stay between 44,800 and 49,700, or if it's willing to go beyond 49,700. That would be a very positive thing. But remember, if we start coming back down, just watch those hourly candles. We have that weekly open sitting right above 44,800. So that would be a very strong confirmation if we start closing below 44,800 that there is continued downside potentially to come. As you can see, we formed a low, lower low, and a lower low, and that could potentially form another lower low. We'll have to watch and monitor this. Of course, you guys know I will keep you guys up to date for those watching our channel. And with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this update. A lot will happen this week. It is a very critical time in the markets, and I'm super excited to see how traditional markets act on Turnaround Tuesday tomorrow. And so we'll see what that brings us. And with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this content. Remember to smash the like button if you did. And until next time, snipers out.